he sees a guy that's limping and he says, not today. This is hilarious because he's a doctor. He helps people for a living. He doesn't think that poor person's limping. Maybe I should help him. He's like, "Who was that? Oh no." He closes the door and looks over to the girls. Did you see that guy? What a weirdo. Why was he limping like that?
Hello, ghoul friends. Welcome to the Freaky Film Podcast. I'm Em.
And I'm Doll. And today we're going to be telling you some spooky, scary skeleton stories. Minus the skeletons. I'm going to tell you something that happened to me recently, and then if we have time left, I'm going to tell you some similar spooky stories. Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, I kind of told you a little bit about what happened to me the other day, but more happened. There's been an update.
Oh man.
There's been a part 2.
I'm ready.
Okay, so to start off, I was home alone. And it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. And I have my headphones on, I'm dancing in front of the mirror, shaking it, dropping it low, twerking, I just gotta keep in practice. So I'm dancing by myself with Moomin. And Moomin's laying on the bed just watching me like a crazy person. And then all of a sudden he perks his head up and he looks over to where my bedroom door is, jumps off the bed, and then runs out to the living room. And usually he does that when someone comes home or someone comes in. Or sometimes he'll do it randomly, like he won't act like he heard something, but he'll get up and just go out there and eat his food, nibble on his food. So I was like, there's, either it could be he's eating his food or someone's here. So he acts like he hears something. So I'm like, oh, okay, someone's here. So he walks out and then I follow behind him. I have my headphones in still. And then I walk to the doorway and I kind of look over to see where Moomin is. All the lights were off in the house, except for the one in my bedroom. So there's a hallway that leads to the front door. So I look around for Moomin and I look towards the hallway, and in the hallway there's a set of stairs. And Moomin was sitting by the stairs staring at the door. So I look at Moomin first because I spotted him first, and then I look up to what he's looking at, and he's looking at the front door. And at the front door, I see a shadow figure. It looked like it was dark, so it looked like a person was just standing there, like with their arms a little. I'm gonna have to take a picture and show you what he looked like, or I can place it in the video. But the way it was standing, and it looked like a man that was probably 5'10", 5'11", standing where the door was, and just like I couldn't see its face because it was just dark. So I just saw like dark figure, and then I kind of just looked at it, and then I walked back into my room. I thought it was just someone came home, so I didn't think twice about it. So I walked back into my room, and then when I reached my mirror to go back to my dancing, it like hit me because I was like, why didn't it like they move or talk or say hi or anything like that? It was like I looked in its direction, it looked at me. I couldn't see its eyes, but looked in my direction, just standing there. And then we kind of like acknowledged each other. We're there. And then I just went back in my room. But I was like, I didn't see anything wrong with that at the time until it hit me. I was like, I ran to the door.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So you saw him inside your house or outside your house?
Inside.
Okay, like when you first sent me some of this, I was like, is he inside your house or was he outside? That's terrifying. Yeah. That's even worse.
But at like the time, I didn't think twice about it because I was just like, oh, I thought somebody just got home. And they were just standing in the doorway, like maybe taking off their shoes or something, like whatever. So I just went back in my room.
You saw a shadow and you're like, oh, this is fine.
Literally the shape of a person. It was like, it's undeniable that it was a person shaped thing, whether it was a person or not, but we'll get to that. Then as soon as it hit me that wasn't someone I knew, I went to the door. I yelled because I looked out. Moomin was still looking at the front door. I yelled, Moomin, come. Moomin ran like nobody's business. It's almost like he was in shock. He did not bark. He did not make any noises. He was just dead set staring at the door. And he ran in the room. But I didn't look back up at the door because I was so freaked out at that time. I just yelled for Moomin. Moomin ran as fast as he could. I shut that door and locked it so quick. You know when you're like shaking because you're like trying to do something really quick?
Or adrenaline.
So it's the feeling of, you know, when we were kids and we'd be chasing each other and we run to the bathroom in the hallway and they try to lock it real quick before they try to hit each other because we're getting like a hit fight. It felt just like that. Trying to lock your siblings out of the room so they don't hit you. So that's what I did. And then I was kind of like in shock for a second because I didn't know what to say or do because I thought it was like a real person. And to be honest, it still could have been. But I was just like, what do I do? My first instinct, it was like, I called someone and I was like, I just saw someone at the front door. I don't know if it was a person or if it was a shadow person or what it was.
Shadow squatter?
Yeah, shadow squatter. They weren't squatting, they were standing firm. I was just like, okay, I didn't know what to think because I was like, it could very well be a person. And about 10 minutes later, someone showed up and they cleared the whole house. It was nobody. Well, not that it was nobody. Nobody was there by the time they got there. And I don't know because like I said, I went and locked my room, went in my room and locked the door and just stayed there. And I didn't, just waited for someone to get home. So
scary.
Yeah, they cleared the house. No one was in there. And I was kind of just like, I felt like later that night, I was like, I feel like somebody or something is trying to tell me something. It was almost like felt like a warning sign, or it was just a person that was able to like get in my house. Okay, these are the two things that I think, okay? It either could have been a person that walked in my house, they got to the front door, Moomin ran to them, so they kind of got like scared, like, oh, there's a dog. And then I walk out and I just stare straight at them. I walk back in my room. They were probably like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not a normal reaction to see a stranger in your house. Is to just stare at them. They stare at you and you just walk back in your room and start singing and dancing because it's literally what I did until it hit me. So they were probably just like, what the heck is going on? They just went right back out the door, That's my thought if it was a real person, like an actual person. And Moomin just kind of because I think Moomin, if it was a person, Moomin was in shock too. I don't know what happened after that because I was literally just sitting there and I was, calling someone like, hey, you need to get here because I think someone's in my house or there's a spirit or something. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, the other option is I felt like almost it was a very, I didn't personally feel scared at all. But it almost felt like it was something from somebody else or like a warning. That's what because when all of a sudden...
kind of warning?
I don't know. I have speculations, but nobody has been in my house that is like, that I don't know, really, except for one person. Or
I've been attached to him.
Yeah. Because what's so funny, I was like, I've been training for this. Me and Em have been researching this stuff for so long. So now that it's happened to me, like, okay, now it's time to speculate. So I was like, now I gotta tell Em, because that was literally what I did. I wrote you when you wrote me, like, oh, we can record this week. I was like, oh, cool, And then literally not even an hour after we said that, that's when this happened. And then right after this happened and nobody was in the house, I wrote you and I was like, I just saw something. Right after, because I was like, this is going in the podcast. But some things that I noted, whatever is going on, because the night before, I think my eyes might be going bad. These are also where it could be. My eyes just going bad because I can keep seeing like things in my eyes, like splotches. But what's weird is almost like they're passing by or things like happening. Like when I'll go on walks at night, I'll see like shadows. But I'm always the one to be like, it's probably just my eyes either playing tricks or, it's a shadow or a trick of the light, blah, 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 this or that. Well, the day before I was on a night walk and I was walking down our road and I saw something that seemed like a dog run past me, like in front of me. It was like maybe 10 feet, 15 feet in front of me, run past me. And I kind of looked, but it was like straight dead on. So you know how you can
Yeah.
be tricked by things at the corner of your eyes very easily? But
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
staring at something straight on, it's like less likely for your eyes to play tricks on you because you're looking right
yeah.
at it. And I kind of look at it, it disappeared. So I thought maybe it was just an actual dog just went by. So I kind of look around, didn't see anything, didn't try to think much of it. But I noticed that I'm starting to see, I guess, more shadowy things, which just sounds weird. That's why I, just started my period. So I was like, maybe it's blood loss and I'm just losing my vision because I'm losing blood or something like that. This is me trying to rationalize everything because I'm just like,
Yeah.
what is
Like,
this?
there's no
Something's going
way
on.
that this is this.
So I was like, that's interesting. Right
Yeah.
before I saw the shadow person, I was like, interesting. But anyway.
This was the night before when
Yeah,
you
literally
saw
the night
the
before.
dog one. Okay.
And another thing where I know that my eyes were less likely to play tricks on me is that, like I said, I looked straight at this thing. Never in my life have I seen something like this that I looked straight onto. Because even when I was a kid, when I saw someone rummaging through my drawer, it was from my
Yeah.
peripheral vision. It was from my side eye, and when I looked over, I didn't see it. But this was dead on. So that's why it's like I can't, reason it away as much, because I was like, I looked right at it. And even though I kind of just didn't process it and walked away, it was just like, I still never seen something where I just looked straight on with your vision. So that made me believe it even more that, I mean, it still could be my eyes. I might go blind. Who knows? But anyways, so going on to the second part of the story, this is the part I haven't told you because it happened the next morning. So I kept thinking about it all night, and like randomly as I was about to go to sleep and something like hit me. It's almost like told me, or like I had a realization. I was like, I have a really bad feeling like that I know something. Like I know something that's about to happen, or I don't even know how to explain it, because I don't know if you're like this, but I feel like you're more like this than any of our other siblings, same as me. Almost that you know things and you don't know how you know them, or like you can sense when something is off.
Yeah.
Only because you're constantly
or intuition.
Yeah. Constantly like taking information in and just thinking through things. So much more lately with this past year, I've been knowing things and I don't know how I know them. And it's like, I'm not saying like I know them, like I'm like, I think this is gonna happen, it never happens. No. I find out information, like information pops into my head and I don't know how I know them or why I would think about this. And then later on I found out that it's like this information that I shouldn't have known from someone else, like I knew before even I knew. Like I knew it in my head before I found it out by, the person's mouth or somebody that told me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think also I was doing research on this because there's a thing called data poisoning, which is it's a use for like computers, where you take in so much information constantly all the time that your brain comes up with like conclusions to things, or almost can feel like it can predict things because it's constantly taking information in. Which I was like, maybe that's what I'm doing. I'm constantly watching and looking and learning about everything around me, that it's like you're hyper putting two and two together. And so it almost becomes a prediction because your brain is constantly adding things up. So anyway, that's been my... that's my life. What does Hilary Duff say? I hope you liked it. Because I sure
my life.
That's what I feel like.
What happened in that morning?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Okay, so that morning I was laying down because I stayed up till like probably 4 a.m. I could not fall asleep. So it was like 10 o'clock, I guess, in the day, and Moomin kept trying to wake me up, and I was like, leave me alone. And then finally, like I was like, I can't stay asleep any longer. So Moomin runs out of the room, and guess what he does? He runs out of the room and goes to the stairs, and he starts barking at the door, and just keeps, and it's not even like barking like a I guess it's barking kind of like a warning thing, but he wasn't scared. It was almost like he was, you know how dogs kind of like sound like they're trying to talk or say something when they're like, they don't do barks, but they do kind of weird noises. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And at the door, and I just said, I'm gonna stare at the door and see if I see something. And then I just stared at the door for a little while. I did not see anything, but then I was just like, Moomin would not. I said, Moomin, get away from the door. Just go away. He wouldn't listen to me. It's like he couldn't hear me. And he just kept staring at the door doing that. And then I said, well, I guess I'm going to pray it away. So I was like, I prayed that in Jesus' name that it would go away. As soon as I did that, Moomin stopped making the noise. He was looked at the door. He looked over at me, and then he got off the stair and just came over to me. He hasn't been on that stair or looking at the door since that happened.
What?
And
yeah,
he hasn't done that
in your house.
That's why it's so weird, because he hasn't done that before this, and he hasn't done that after this. So you know how I was talking about like the data poisoning, about patterns is something you notice. I was like, I would have noticed if Moomin had this pattern of going to the door and barking. He does not do that, and he did it that night when I saw something in that morning, and then after I prayed, like he instantly stopped. He looked over at me, got up the stairs, and walked away. And I was like, I'm going to test this out. If Moomin goes back to the door at any point today and starts barking, like maybe it's just he's hearing somebody that's outside or whatever. And he never did. He never went back to the door. He never went back on the step. He never went back looking at the door. He never acts like he hears anything. And he hasn't acted like he heard anything since. But I tried to also think in a way, but I was like, maybe someone was dropping off a package. And so right after it happened, because I didn't want to go over there till like after Moomin came away. But after Moomin came away, I was like, that thing's gone. Whatever it was, I feel like it's gone. And so right after that, Moomin came over to me. We walked to the door together. And it was so funny the way Moomin was acting. He was like, he peeked around the door, acting like to see if anything was out there. And nothing was out there. Nobody was out there. I didn't hear any footsteps beforehand, and there was no package. Yeah. So I was like, okay, yeah, I think it's whatever it was is gone now. I haven't seen it or sensed it, or Moomin hasn't either. So anyway, that's my life. I hope you liked it, because I know I did.
Well, I think it was probably definitely something piggybacking off the person that you were saying. 'Cause every time I've had an experience like that where I've had to pray, in Jesus' name for it to go away, it's always been someone, like, for example, I have a friend that she's been seeing shadow people her whole life, and she said that her kids see it, and she's older than me. One time she came over to my house, and then weird stuff started happening, and then after I prayed it away and stuff, it never came back. I think I told you a story of my friend from work gave me holy water.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna need some of that.
But I told her, I was like, well, I prayed it away and it went away, but she hadn't been over to my house after that, and so whatever it was. So
next time you're like, maybe we should meet somewhere else up to eat or something.
That's my thought on it.
What's so weird, I guess, about it for me is that I could fully make out a figure, and I know how I have a big imagination. I feel like all of us do. Can imagine things pretty well. So I'm like, maybe I saw something and inputted it, but it was just like so real and so dead on. I have a hard time thinking that I didn't see what I saw. So
like, the fact that you Moomin kept reacting that way because he sensed something's in the house.
That's another thing that I can't deny, because I was like, why would Moomin be acting like that? Because he saw whatever it was too. Whether it be a real life human, it was a real person that walked to my house and they thought I was crazy because I just didn't react. Or if it was a shadow person, Moomin saw it. Because Moomin did every reaction that I did before I did, because he noticed it way before I did, And then when I'm adding all this stuff up, it don't make sense. It don't add up. That's the problem.
Math ain't mathin'.
Yeah. But the way that Moomin reacted or looked like he was looking at it too, there was all these things that add up together to see that there was something there, Anyways, but I haven't seen, or Moomin hasn't reacted since I prayed, so I'm not, but the thing is also why I don't feel scared, I guess, is because my reaction to seeing it was not scared, because I didn't feel like it was there to harm me.
You didn't feel fear.
I didn't feel fear at all, because literally me just walking away until I realized, like, oh,
that wasn't normal.
That wasn't, who I thought it was. That's not somebody I know. On the edge if it was a real person or not, because it's like, I've seen that body type before, almost. And that's another thing that kind of creeped me out, because I was just like, what if whatever it was, because I so much feel like it's a warning that whatever it was almost manifesting into the person I need to watch out for or be warned about, because this body type was a body type I've seen before. It wasn't just like a shadowish thing that I could not make out. I can make out every line. That's why I could tell exactly how far its arms were apart from its waist, and the way, like, his legs widths apart and everything, and just...
But you couldn't see its face or anything?
No, because, like, also, a
shadow.
thing why it was hard to see is because we have a bed frame and a table in the hallway. So that also casts like, it's taken apart, but it's, like, tall and set up, leaned against the wall. But anyways.
Do you think it was a man?
Yeah, it was a man, for sure. I know, well, I've never seen a woman with that body type. So I'm almost positive it was a man. Well, I know it was a man. Well,
and the person that's been having the problems that you said that's been in your house, are they male or female?
They're a man. This information, because what are you going to tell someone? Just like this, I could tell you
Final
this.
Destination.
Yeah, I could tell you this, and I know you're gonna, like, listen to me and believe me, or try to think it through with me. But, like, any other person, where I'm like, I have a bad feeling about you, they're gonna be like, why? I'm like, because I saw a shadowy figure in my hallway. It's like, how are you gonna tell somebody that, and then be like, okay, take it seriously, you know? Because I know if you told me something, if you saw something, you said, duh, I saw something, and I feel like somehow it's connected with you, and I feel like you need to be careful or watch out for this, that. I'm going to be like, oh, help me, I'm scared. What do I do?
Yeah.
So I feel like anyway, if someone's trying to tell you, like, I have you know, and you really trust that person, and you feel like they have your best interest at mind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why they would. Why would I lie? Because it literally would benefit me no way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to get famous about this. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so scary. At least I could tell my podcast. At least there's an upside to everything. Okay, so I guess we have enough time, so even though I blabbed a lot, we're going to get into some scary, spooky stories. Let's see if you can figure out. I think some of these are twist endings. Yeah, these are a lot of these are twist endings. So let's see if you can figure out the twist ending. Like, I'm going to stop halfway through, and I'm going to see if you can guess the twist ending. You in the comments, try to guess the twist ending. Even though I know you could just skip through to the end, but let's play a game like you can't. Okay. Oh wait, that reminds me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, rate our Spotify podcast. We're trying to get to 10,000.
Give us 5 stars.
Yes. Yeah, do that like right now. We'll wait. Okay, thank you. Okay, next. What?
I said, time's up.
Oh, yeah.
Late.
Time is up. What is it? What does her say? The Clockwork Girl say? Is that what she says? Time's up?
I think so.
I can't remember now. Good, I forgot.
Like, the worst story ever.
Yeah, I actually found it, to be honest.
Happened.
I almost want to do one that's on the same level of bad as that I found recently.
We should find one.
I already have one. I found one that's literally almost it's not the same story, but it's the same terrible, you know? We could do that one.
Oh, we can do it, yeah.
Okay.
We should do it.
Okay, so this one is called The Cabin. What do you think about that title, Em?
Is it in the woods?
Perhaps, probably. Okay, you ready?
Bigfoot. It's gonna be Bigfoot.
Let's see.
Love Bigfoot.
A hiker decided to go on a hike. Oh, wow. How original. A hiker decided to go on a hike. What else would he do? By himself. Oh, okay. That's different. Something he was not very used to. The whole day was normal. Trees and bushes. In all of his surroundings. Okay. Why do we need to know that? He enjoyed being outdoors. Okay. In the mountains, nothing seemed strange to him. That was until he was making his way back to the car. He figured an 8-hour hike was good enough. The sky was getting dark.
Jeez.
And he needed to, I hope he brought a granola bar. And he needed to get back fast.
Flashlight.
You know what's funny? It's like, the sky was
Wait
getting...
until he's 8 hours in, and he's like, oh
I
man,
know.
I gotta book it back to my car.
Literally, that's exactly what I was about to say. I was like, it was getting dark, and he decided he needs to get back fast. I'm like, okay, then what were you doing all that 8 hours? Like, okay, then. He needed to get
in the
back
woods
fast.
now.
Mm-hmm. Brother, okay, I'm gonna fix this, because you know these stories, we always have to run into typos. What was odd was, goodness, this is hard. Okay, I got this. What was odd was how much he didn't recognize the trail back. He began to
Going
panic.
the wrong way.
Yeah, ever thought about that hiker that likes to hike? It doesn't sound
Probably
like you're a very good
he
hiker.
should have like left things. You know how
Breadcrumbs.
people tie stuff to
Yeah.
trees and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, so they can find their way back. He's going for 8 hours. You think he would have done that?
Yeah, that's like a whole day. Okay. He began to panic. Night had already taken over, and all he had was his flashlight and no clue how to get back. Look, this sounds like the worst hiker known to man. Okay, he goes for an
didn't have
8-hour
a
hike, doesn't have a
tent?
backpack, doesn't have water, doesn't have food. All he has is a flashlight. Like, so he just took all that hike with a flashlight in the broad daylight. Okay, interesting. Okay, all he had was a flashlight and no clue how to get back. He knew it was already too late and too dangerous to keep going through the perilous forest. He began to worry that he would have no shelter for the night. When most
shit.
likely enough, he stumbled across a broken down cabin. Okay, now you're going to try to guess. Oh no, what do you think about it so far? And then I'm going to say when I get almost to the close to the end, I'm going to see if you can guess the twist ending. But what do you think about it so far?
The hiker is dumb as crap.
Yes.
1.
Very.
2, I think it's either Bigfoot or it's gonna be like The Hills Have Eyes or what's the other one? Wrong Turn. It's gonna be like some deformed hillbillies.
Speaking of deformed hillbillies or like Hills Have Eyes, like incestuous things, probably have to cut that out. But you made me watch Tusk. Well, they have Tusk and Barbarian on Tubi right now, and I watched Barbarian the other night.
Oh, what'd you think of it?
I liked it. So funny. But it's so funny that the Tusks and that one both have Justin Long. Like, what's Justin Long up to? What he doing for real?
Well, because he's known for doing a lot of cheesy like horror movies. I mean, because he started Jeepers Creepers, so it's kind of like his niche or whatever.
Going, and he plays the same type of insufferable character, in both of those movies. And like where he literally throws the girl off the roof. Gotta put me first. For real.
I know, and I was just like, what?
You know what I found out about that movie? Because I started to pick up on things, and I was like, every time I said, like, don't do this, don't do this, it was like, girl, you know better. I literally said that to the character. And so I went into, like, watching things after it, or, like, reading about it. It was actually based off of a book where it was, like, the key of this was, the lesson was for women to trust their instincts. And that's what the whole movie was. Even if you look back, like, each time she thought about it, she was like, even when she first saw the, like, hallway, she was like, no, to be funny. It was like a comedy type thing. And she was like, no way. But, even then, like, even every time, like, she shouldn't have gone down there with the guy, at first. When she very first went down there, when that guy went down there, she went against her instincts. Like, over and over again, she put her life on the line to try to save someone else, always to, against her instincts or her, intuition, a woman's intuition.
Yeah.
That's what the whole story they said was, like, based off of her about. It was, like, basically a lesson for women to trust their intuition. To, like, just don't do it. It kind of points at the very beginning, when she's like, you're a man, you don't have to worry about if someone knocks on your door. She's like, if you knocked on my door and I was here, I would not let you in. I'm like, yeah, for real. And if I was a girl and there was a guy in my house, I wouldn't go in the house. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting. Okay, so
I was just so sad about poor Bill. Like, they want you to think he's a bad guy, and the poor guy wasn't a bad guy.
I know.
And it was so sad.
Yeah.
Me and Laura kept arguing because I really thought he was going to turn. He was going to be the bad guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what they wanted.
I bet it's going to be him.
Yeah. I thought he was
and
like.
Laura's like, I think they want you to think that's not going to be it. And me and her kept arguing. Then when they killed him, I was like, no.
I was still hoping he was going to be alive or
so
something.
I know. I was like, oh, he could survive. They only got his face smashed in. He's fine.
She'll doctor him up. Give him some breast milk. It will fix him. They say it heals. Okay, so back to the story. Sorry, we went on about Barbarian. Go watch Barbarian on Tubi for free.
It'll change you for life. You'll never forget that.
And while you're at it,
for sure.
go in Tusk.
Yeah. Okay. Life-changing movies, for sure.
He began to worry that he would find no shelter in the night. when luckily enough he stumbled across a broken down cabin. It was dark, and it seemed like no one had visited in years, but he knew it was the only place where he could rest. How'd he know that, though? Okay. Until daylight, especially since his flashlight was running out of battery. Okay, this is the worst hiker known to man. Like, he literally acts like, oh, I hike so good. I hike for 8 hours. Don't bring extra batteries. Bring a dead flashlight. Not any granola bars. Not anything
He
to
needs
help
to have
you
one
get
of those.
home.
Isn't there like a charging one where you can either shake it,
Yeah.
or isn't there like a turning one? I don't remember.
The
It's
crank
like,
ones. Yeah, he's not prepared. Anyway,
He's not a professional hiker for sure.
he knocked on the door a few times, but no one answered. So he let himself in to where strangely perfect bed fitted for one person awaited him. Okay, not suspicious at all, but with this guy's track record, I don't think he
Sus.
has any critical thinking skills. So let's let him go. He knew that it was if the owner came back, he could explain himself. Do you think he could explain himself, him?
No.
That literally makes me think, okay, since this literally ties into a message I received today, I'm going to tell you the message I received today, Em. Okay. Okay. Here is the segment of where we tell... Doll tells you the random creepy men write her messages, okay? Okay, I got a message today and someone said, "Can I buy you stuff to be mean to me? I can explain." Okay, that's the end of the segment. Yeah, that's the end of the segment. It's because he says that if the owner came back, I could explain to him. Like, literally, no, you can't. What are you gonna explain? I broke into your house because it was dark and I was a little
slept
scared.
in this bed because I'm lost, so...
I'm just a little scaredy boy who didn't bring anything with me on an 8-hour... Like, none of that adds up. Just like the guy saying, "Can you be mean to
The
me?
math
I'll
ain't
buy you
mathin'."
gifts if you be mean to me. I can explain." I'm like, I would like to see you explain yourself. Yeah, explain. Go ahead. Okay. He was sure that the owner wouldn't mind, or was even probably dead. So
He is
went ahead-
dumb. And why would it be a perfectly made bed
Yeah.
if no one was living there?
Literally, yeah. Okay, see, we have big brains. Like, yeah, he's not thinking at all. Okay. Even was probably dead, so he went ahead and got himself comfortable in the bed. I would not be able to get comfortable in a stranger's bed in the middle of the woods in the dark in a cabin I wouldn't know. Like, men just do not care. They do
I'd
not
just
care.
be waiting. I'd be waiting for the person to come back because
Yeah.
I'd be paranoid.
You
They
couldn't
definitely
even
wouldn't
lock
sleep
the
in the bed.
door.
I'd just lay on the floor. I'd lay on the floor. That way,
Yeah, or hide in the
maybe
corner.
They won't kill me. Yeah. Be like, I didn't take your bed. I had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and I'd be mad if I perfectly made my bed and somebody laid in it.
This dirty
dirty-
hiker
Yeah, 'cause
probably
he's been-
smells like
He's been hiking 8
Ugh.
hours. You know how stinky
more than
he
that
is?
when he was trying to find his way back,
Oh,
and he
you're
was probably
right.
running, getting all sweaty.
Ugh, on the day heat, because he went through all the day heat. Yeah, this is gross, bro.
Mhm.
Okay, he got himself comfortable in bed. As he tried to sleep, he couldn't ignore the collection of paintings around the room, portraits of strange-looking people. Okay, I'm gonna stop there, Em. Now, there.
Gonna be one of him.
What do you
Someone's
think's gonna
watching
happen?
him from the woods, and they're painting him, observing him because they're looking to hack him, or
Like
maybe
being
it's
part of
all
his collection,
ploy. Like
art
they're,
collection.
yeah, maybe they were luring him there the whole time.
Yeah,
Wow.
maybe it's a magical forest. That's a very, very.
think it's
that's
the
a very
hills have
good,
eyes.
Assumption. Okay. So, okay, we're going to give you guys a second to comment down below what you guys think is going on. What's going to be the twist? Okay.
We need to do like in Blue's Clues. I'm like, do you know where the sum
Or like Dora.
is? Like, great. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have the arrow. Okay.
Mhm.
He couldn't ignore the collections of paintings around the room. Portraits of strange-looking people, all peering at him, each wearing a smile that sent chills up his spine. Not long after this, his exhaustion from the hike got the best of him, and he was able to ignore the faces. Okay, here's the twist.
Ugh.
The next morning, he got up early and was shocked to see that there was no paintings around the room, but only windows.
Oh my gosh, I just got the chills.
I was
That
waiting
got
for you to
me,
get the
man.
chills.
I just felt the chills go up my arms. I'm like, ah! I could just think of the smiling guy, all Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yes.
The naughty.
That's what they were thinking. You getting yourself dirty, smelly self in our perfectly made bed. They're like, you're naughty. That's what they were thinking. But they just left him alone.
Although after he said there was no windows, and then it was all windows, and smiling people.
You know
were
what that
staring
makes
at
me
him.
think
Told
of?
you his hills have eyes.
That makes me think of Hereditary, where all those naked people are all outside.
Oh yeah.
Or like they're
More
all
like a
around.
cult, or
Yeah, it was
sa-
a cult.
sa-
Yeah.
sa-
I mean, this could be a
Satanists,
cult. And they keep in that cabin. You
I
know?
mean, true.
Anyways.
So then, is that the end?
Yeah, that's the end.
Oh, yeah, that one got me. The end of it was good. I'll give it that. The hiker was dumb, but
For every
That's creepy.
right comment down below, I will give 1 like. You'll get pinned, okay? Okay, now let's see if this one is. Okay, so these are all gonna be like almost like twist ending type. Or not even like, I guess twist, you guys should say endings, but like something you wouldn't expect maybe. Okay. I haven't read these beforehand though, so I'm just as shocked as you. Okay, this one's called The Red Wristband. What does that title say to you?
they got VIP. They're going in the pit, like they're at a concert or something.
Oh, I was like, wait, what? They're going to the pit. What's going on? Okay. I'm good at something.
Yeah.
Okay. A doctor was working at a hospital. Okay, I love how they start out. A hiker was going for a hike. A doctor was at a hospital. Cool. Okay, I love how these are just so literal. Okay. A hospital where the patients were tagged with colored bands. Green, alive, red, deceased. Okay, why would...
Was not prepared. I didn't think it was gonna be that.
What?
I thought they put tags on their toes. Why are they giving them a red wristband?
Wait,
Does that mean they're going to hell because they're wearing red?
listen for a second though, listen. Okay, we're going to use our critical thinking skills, everybody. What's wrong with that picture? Okay, they're wearing green if they're alive and red if they're deceased. What's wrong with that picture? Oh yeah. Why would we need to put a wristband on someone that's dead? Because I could look at someone and tell that they're dead. Are they walking around and I'm just like, I look at the wristband, no, you're not alive. You're dead. You have a red wristband, so you have to be dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if the person's
Yeah.
not breathing and they're not walking around, then I'm going to assume that they're dead. They don't need,
Do
they
the
don't
old
need a
trick
wristband.
in movies where they just put the sheet over the whole body.
Yeah, I
if they're
know,
dead,
but that's
you
just
know?
so funny to
Why are
think
you gonna
about.
check their wristband? Check their wristband.
Say, make
see
sure
if
they're dead.
alive or
Make sure
not.
they're alive. Yeah. If someone's walking around and they're talking, I wouldn't have to give them a green wristband because I would assume they're alive. Okay, so yeah, everybody in these stories, they have no critical thinking skills, but we're gonna go on.
I am guessing that he's gonna kill someone that's actually alive and got the wrong wristband. Is what I think is gonna happen.
Okay, you're making
I'm
your
just
assumption. early.
pre-predicting it. Yeah.
Okay. So when we get halfway through, I'll let you still see if you want to say that. Okay. One night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement. Why was a doctor instructed to get supplies? That's not his job, but okay. From the basement of the hospital. So he headed to the lift. The lift doors opened. I guess this must be British or something. Because, like, you mean elevator? Okay. Doors opened and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. Patients were allowed to roam around the hospital, to stretch, especially those that have stayed long. The rules was to be back in their rooms before 10. Like, girl, if I'm paying all that money to be at a hospital, I'm gonna walk around as much as I want. Like, there's no rules for me, you know, at a hospital. There actually isn't rules like that. If you can walk around, they're gonna let you walk around because they can't tell you what to do, because guess what you can do? Walk right out of that hospital. You're paying to be there. But okay. Okay. Minding your own business, blah, 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 blah. Okay. The doctor smiled at the patient before pressing the number to the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. He wondered if she was heading to the basement too. The lift...
Ghost.
He left...
It's probably where the coroner's stuff is.
Yeah.
It's usually on the bottom
It's
floor.
usually in the basement, yeah. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors open. In the distance of in the distance, a man was limping towards the elevator. Okay, now it says elevator. And in a panic, the doctor slammed the elevator button closed. So he sees... Okay. Let's stop again.
Sees a guy that might need help, and then he's like, whoa.
Okay, let's go back up to the beginning. Yeah, back at the beginning. What did we learn at the beginning of the story? This story is about a doctor who works in a hospital. He sees a guy that's limping, and he says, not today. He's a doctor.
Why he's still in the
living.
Elevator with a strange woman that he doesn't know who she is. So you're stuck in the elevator with another stranger.
This is hilarious because he's a doctor. He helps people for a living. He doesn't think that poor person's limping. Maybe I should help him. He's like, who was that? Oh no! He closes the door and looks over to the girls. Did you see that guy? What a weirdo. Why was he limping like that? He's literally in a hospital.
For real, though.
He's in a hospital. There's going to be people that limp. There's going to be people with broken legs that are on crutches. Like, maybe he dropped his crutches and he's asking for help. And that guy's just like, no. Wait. Shuts the door on him. Okay. Man. This is the worst doctor of all time. I can already tell you that much. And the doctor slammed the elevator button closed. It finally did, and the lift began to ascend back up. The doctor's heart's pounding. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Why
Limping man. Limping man's gonna tell on him, probably.
Okay, why did you do that? He was trying to use the lift. The woman stated, annoyed. Real. If I was a lady, I'd be like, are you not a doctor?
You're
Why
a horrible doctor. Yeah.
Okay, if you think about it this way.
I'm glad you're not my doctor.
Think about it this way, Em, okay? A crippled man can't use the stairs. He can only use the elevator. And his doctor sees a crippled man coming for the elevator, and he shuts it on him. Shuts the door on this poor crippled man. If I was that girl, I'd be like, what is wrong with you? You're scared of a limping man?
Yeah, for real.
Okay. Why did you do that? He was trying to use the lift. The woman stated, annoyed. I'd be more than annoyed.
Smack him.
Did you see his wrist? The doctor asked. It was red. Yeah. He died last night. I would know because I did a surgery.
He said I did a surgery?
This is the worst doctor of all time. He killed the man.
Did a surgery.
That's why he left that poor man limping.
Coming back for revenge. Yeah.
This is one of the funniest ones we read, only because it's so contradictory to itself, and it's like, I would know. I did a surgery, and it's like, oh wow, that's scary. And then you think about it for a second, and you're like, wait, you killed this man? Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
I would know. I did a surgery. The woman lifted her wrist. He saw
You did
red.
mine too.
Yeah. He saw red. She smiled. Like this one. Girl, take him out. Take him out of his misery. This guy can't think to save his life. Like, he should not
Probably
be
being haunted by the person he killed, yeah.
The only way I can think that this guy's real, I think that he was impersonating a doctor. Because that's what he acting like. He not it.
Maybe.
I love how it starts out. A doctor was working in a hospital.
Would be an imposter.
Anyways, I think we have
Is that the end?
Yeah, that's the end. Like this one?
Okay, I have one story,
Oh,
like a real story.
Good.
Alright, okay. So, there's this story that I watched of this guy that worked in a funeral home, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So he worked night shift. So he would go and sleep where, you know, they keep the bodies before they put them in the incinerator to, like, cremate them. And apparently, I guess this guy was so dead asleep. Someone came in there and thought that because he was covering up with the sheets, like, you know, they put over him. Out cold asleep on his shift. So then the morning shift comes in, they see a body in there, push him in there
Because they think it's time, yeah.
And he died. It really happened.
Okay, that's
I don't remember what city it was in.
Guys, we're learning a valuable lesson today. What have we learned about all the stories we've heard today? Only person, well, even me, I guess I had critical thinking skills after aftermath, but when I saw that thing, I just walked away. So I need to work on mine. But every story has something in common. People are not thinking. The hiker, not thinking.
Let me just
the doctor,
go down
not
here where
thinking.
we cremate people.
Yeah, and sleep in the
cover up with
cremation
the sheet.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they were literally like on the tray thing that they slide in.
I bet you he was like on something or high or something. Or something like
Yeah, I don't remember what state it happened in, but I think he got whatever. It wasn't like the main like manslaughter. It was
Yeah.
like one where it was like an accident. I
Yeah.
mean, he didn't know, but they're like, well, he should have checked. Well, he should have, but he was probably like, who is
Who
gonna
does
lay
that?
down
Literally,
here?
like I said, everybody we've been talking about is like they can't think. They don't use your brain. Use your brain. The thing in your head. That's what I feel like with all these people. Last one, everybody. Are you ready? Let's see if our protagonist
I'm
is
ready.
smarter than everybody else we've encountered thus far. Okay. White with red. I can't even say white right. It sounds like right. Okay, white with red. A man just moved into an apartment and heads to the receptionist to get his keys. The receptionist gave him the key with a smile, but warns him not to disturb the door with no number on his floor. Once I hear that, I'm already thinking, actually, I'm giving the keys back. I think I'm gonna move out today. Like, why would you even have that? Okay, next. Not to disturb the door with no number on the floor. He wondered why, but didn't bother to ask. Why not? Okay, that's where you messed up. Why didn't you ask? Okay. He was too busy with his new apartment to care. After he finished unpacking, he began to act curious. He questioned why the receptionist would warn him of such things. Why did she go back downstairs and ask her? And so he stepped out of his apartment to check the door with no number. He tried the doorknob first, but it was locked. Okay, so you're just gonna try to break into some random person's door? Okay. But it was locked. So instead...
thinking.
He instead got onto his knees and peeked through the keyhole. This must be some old
What?
time apartment, because you cannot see through
Yeah.
keyholes except for like in the early 1900s, 1800s. Keyholes were big enough where you could stick your eyeball through it. Okay. Peeked through the keyhole. The apartment he was looking into was empty. His eyes scanned the whole place before stopping at a woman standing face against a wall in the corner. He noticed her pale...
Oh, that hasn't been a good experience for me. Don't like that. Don't like that.
He noticed a pale skin and long black hair before stepping back, suddenly feeling perverted. Man, you are. You're a peeping Tom. Ever heard of one? Suddenly feeling perverted in the way of invading someone else's privacy. Why didn't you think about that before trying to open the door to this place and then looking through the peephole? Now you feel like you're
The
a
fact
pervert?
that he could see that much through a
He only
keyhole.
feels like a pervert now that he saw someone in there. For invading someone else's privacy. He brushed it off, assuming he was someone that did not want to be disturbed. Oh, she was someone that did not want to be disturbed. No duh. The next day, he got...
She's in the corner. Like, what? Like, with the face in the corner.
What's funny, he's like, oh, I'm such a pervert. How could I have invaded someone's privacy? Anyway, the next day, he got curious about the woman and eventually went back straight away onto his knees to peek through the keyhole. I can't wait till he get what's coming to him. He peeked through the keyhole and saw
Gross.
all red. Red. Why does it say red twice? Red. Red. He assumed that the pale woman must have caught him peeping the last time and covered the keyhole with something red. He left the door... Okay, Em. Go ahead. Make your guesses.
It's the girl from The Ring. The Grudge.
That's your
Remember her
guess?
name.
Okay.
It's haunting the apartment because she was murdered in
Okay,
there. That's what I
okay.
think.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a hint. Like, what do you think the red thing that she used to cover up was?
The red that's over the keyhole?
Yeah, what do
You said
you
there's
think the
everywhere?
red means? Because he sees red and he
What?
assumes that the red is just like a handkerchief or something she put over it because she caught him being a weirdo.
I think it's... Well, if it's hanging over it...
It doesn't
someone's
say hanging, it just says
intestines?
that there's red. So let me say it again, okay? He gets onto his knees and peeks through the keyhole. He sees red. red. He assumed that the pale woman must have caught him peeping the last time and covered the hole with something red. This is what he assumes. This is what now you need to assume. Gives your assumptions down below.
Well, I think it's blood, probably.
Okay.
Like a massacre happened in there.
Okay.
Either she was the person who did it, or someone did it to her.
Okay. So here we go. He left the door alone, instead went down to the receptionist and asked her questions. The receptionist sighed and asked, "You looked through the keyhole, didn't you?" She's sassy. He admitted to it. And so she felt obligated to tell him the story. She told him that a couple used to live in that apartment a long time ago, but the husband went crazy and killed his wife. However, this couple wasn't normal. They had pale skin, black hair, and red eyes. The red it was her looking back at him.
What?
The red that he saw when he looked through the keyhole was her looking right back at him.
Oh, I just got chills.
We're gonna put a chill
my
count
God.
up on the clock. How many chills?
I don't like that. Oh.
Anyways, so it was her ghost, I guess.
Was her red eye?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Actually, there's only one more, so I'm gonna go ahead and read it. We got time.
Okay.
It's a really short one too.
Let go.
This one's called A Mother's Call. Wait. Oh, what? Guess what this one is? This is the third time they tried to trick me into reading this story. This is the same one about, oh yeah, I heard it too. Don't go in there. Girl, I'm glad I looked over it before I read it. Anyways, JK, there's not another story, guys. That's it. Pack it up. Time to go home. Okay. Anyways. So what do you think of those stories? Which one was your favorite?
I don't know, because the two that gave me chills was the smiling people in the windows and then the last one with the eye. But I don't understand how they're pale with black hair and red eyes, so that's a no for me.
Silly.
So I think even though the guy was an idiot, that the cabin one was the best one, because I can just see the naughty guy staring, smiling in the windows at him, wanting to cut his hair because he loves hair.
Yeah, that's what they were waiting. They were just, it was a cult of barbers outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite one
Yeah,
was...
because didn't he take do you remember if it was a hamster or a guinea pig where he cuts all its hair off?
Yeah, but he does that to Courage. He shaved him, remember?
Yeah, but
That's why he was
does
crazy.
it to like a...
Oh, yeah.
He does it to like a hamster or something.
Yeah.
Well,
But I think my favorite was the doctor only because it was so ridiculous. It was so funny because it was just like, okay. But tell us down
that one
below.
was so kind of predictable, though.
Yeah, it was. I already knew what was going to happen.
I was like, the
before I
lady's
even read
already
it.
dead, and I already knew the lady was going to be dead in the elevator.
I didn't expect that this guy was going to come after him from, malpractice, and he was running after him
Yeah.
with a limp. But, so tell us down below which one was your favorite. You can even pick my story at the beginning. That was a true story, though, so that was you can pick that one as your favorite.
We
too, if
might
you
get a
want.
follow-up on someday.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for you
Oh.
guys. I'll keep a little red eye out to my keyhole. Because I haven't been sleeping, I'll have a red eye. Okay, so with that being said,
Lock your doors and check your windows.
and cover your keyholes because there might be a girl with a red eye outside.